Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grandstand Sports Data, your go to channel for sports, statistics, and unbiased handicapping. In today's video, we are going to give you a mid season quarterback report card. That's right, we're going to give you a grade for each of the qualifying 32 quarterbacks. We're also going to show you some analysis from the other quarterbacks as well that didn't just make the list. This is based on our model that you've seen in our previous quarterback report cards. I'll leave a card at the top right just so you can watch some of those. But let's get right into it. So first, we're going to check out who got left out. And by who got left out, we mean the quarterbacks that didn't meet the passing criteria of 125 pass attempts. Now, as you can see from these quarterbacks and all their variables, you can see all the variables from completion percentage all the way down to pressure percentage. All those variables have a target weight that make up what the far right column is, and that's the win percentage. The win percentage will rank these quarterbacks. As you could see, none of them have been playing well or, top 32. Um, so let's just move on to the next group of candidates since you know how it works. And here's the next group of candidates. In the next group of candidates, you could say, Tyrod Taylor, he still didn't meet the passer limit, but where he would have ended up is 30th in the NFL. Will Levis still hasn't made the 125 pass attempt level yet. So, but if he did, he would have been ranking 26th in terms of quarterbacks. And you can see he's got a good touchdown percentage, good interception rate while he's top 10 in the NFL in that. But we're not going to really get into his stats just yet. You're going to see Taylor Heineke up there as well, Andy Dalton, and then Anthony Richardson was playing middle of the pack in terms of a rookie. So he was really having a good season. He was doing well protecting the football, but in terms of throwing, you could see not good in terms of drop percentage. So his quarterbacks weren't catching, his wide receivers weren't catching the ball well for him, and he had a very high bad throw percentage, being ranked 40th out of the non-qualifying quarterbacks. So let's jump into our qualified quarterbacks. And here we go with the qualified quarterbacks. So these are guys that are failing. They have an F for a grade. I don't really have to go over it. We basically know if you're watching week in and week out in the NFL who's really not performing well. Ryan Tannehill, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, Desmond Ritter, all playing like trash, all playing garbage, and that's what they would rank as well. So you have their rank on the far left side, 32, 31, 30, and 29. I'm providing the grade at the top of the page, and the grade is just based on a weighted average based on their win percentage. So just not to get too much into the forest, and just so you can see the trees, we're just gonna present most of the win percentages, the grades, and the quarterbacks, and then go over some variables. So who are the quarterbacks that have been playing very poor? And this would be a D minus or a D classification. You could see Jimmy Garoppolo, not the greatest. His receivers have been catching the football for him. They have a very low drop percentage, and he hasn't been pressured as much as people think. He just hasn't been performing. He hasn't been performing like he has. And then we go into the likes of Bryce Young playing one notch better than him, and then Kenny Pickett as well. So there's not much to say about these guys. You're expecting growing pains from Bryce Young. Kenny Pickett maybe still growing pains. You can blame it on the offensive coordinator, but it smells a lot like Mac Jones, like a lot of excuses for him and things of that nature. And you would think that a quarterback from Pittsburgh with a big arm usually translates into success. Hopefully he can pick it up for you Pittsburgh fans out there. So here's a list of our poor quarterbacks or ranking in the D plus. We have Justin Fields here. Justin Fields not looking too good in terms of his completion percentage, interception percentage, all almost ranking last in the NFL. He's also getting hit, as you can see from his sack percentage and pressure percentage being 30th in the NFL and 31st in the NFL. It's just not looking too good for him. He does have a high touchdown percentage, so he is throwing the ball a little bit more decent or getting that productivity. And that's probably mostly from the DJ Moore trade. Coming in next is Sam Howell and Mac Jones. You saw both of these guys battle it out this past week. I think you could say that in terms of talent level, they're almost on the same, playing field. I guess you would say Sam Howell has maybe more upside and can throw the ball a little bit better in terms of his completion percentage being 14th. He's got a touchdown percentage of 17th, so he can does a decent job at throwing the football, especially when you see 11th in terms of on target percentage and 7th in terms of bad throw. He just gets hit a lot with the sack percentage at 30th. And you can see Mac Jones, he has one of the top sack percentages, and he also gets pressured top 10 in the NFL. So his defensive line is not, I mean, offensive line is not the worst out there. He's just not productive. He's not productive in some big stats. It's adjusted net yards per attempt, interception percentage, rating. He's not he's playing poor, just like his grade tells him. Some of the guys that are below average, so the C minus is Geno Smith and Jordan Love. I gotta say, it's a little bit of a disappointment for Geno Smith. I thought he was going to be a little bit better this season. Looks like he's not on target with 28 being ranked 28th in the NFL in terms of on target throws. This usually would be better from Geno because he keeps all of his passes short, so that's something to look out for. Dropping percentage, his guys are catching him the ball, but he's middle of the road everywhere else, and he doesn't stick out. And last season he was sticking out. Jordan Love, he was the first couple of games was a number one quarterback in terms of this model. Now he's dropped down to 21. He's playing like ass. He can't throw the deep ball. His completion percentage is worse in terms of qualifying quarterbacks. His interception rate is way up there. His passer rating is it's not even close to average. So his bad throw percentage as well. It's bad all around. Now, see, here comes some of the acceptable quarterbacks, and acceptable we mean a C average. So you're talking Josh Dobbs at 20. He's been well. I think everybody's going to talk about the big brain that he has because he's very limited in terms of his talent, but his smarts are going to get him, at least to an average quarterback. I think ranked 20th in the NFL is not a bad comparison. He's probably a starter on a bad team. You can tell by his on target percentage he's worse in terms of all the qualifying quarterbacks. So that doesn't really help his case. Matt Stafford being 19th, especially, I guess you can call this a down year since he's being labeled C as acceptable. He's 31st in completion percentage, 30% in terms of drop percentage. So you guys talk about your Nakuas and all these other guys who are getting him fantasy points, and you want to take your pants off of fantasy points. They're not catching the ball at the end of the day for him. And people will talk about Mahomes and that people aren't catching it over there. Well, this doesn't get enough talked about as well. 31 in the NFL when it comes to bad throw percentage, so he's not even throwing a good ball. People are saying it's because he's hurt. I don't know. The numbers on the numbers right there. Gardner Minshew, he's been playing well. I think that Anthony Richardson was a bit of an upgrade in terms of how the offense was moving. Gardner Minshew, he's limited in his talent, but he's doing well. He's acceptable. I'll call him acceptable. Now here's the satisfactory quarterback. So you C plus and you B minus. So Deshaun's obviously the C plus here. He's 17th in the NFL, almost getting in the middle. He's getting no support from his wide receivers as he's 32nd in the NFL in terms of drop percentage, but he's doing himself no justice being 28th in terms of his accuracy and bad throw and being on target 27th. So he's not throwing a good football. He's not completing enough passes. He's just we would expect better from Deshaun Watson. Then also you want to talk about the fundamental analysis, which is him bitching about his rotator cuff, whether he can play or whether he can't play. He's cleared by a doctor. I don't know if I want to play. Enough with that. Enough with that already. Derek Carr, 16th. He's going to be the B minus here. And he's been playing pretty decent. I mean, for the amount of weapons that he has, I was hoping that he would get at least in the middle of the league. He's not being pressured that much. He's third in the NFL in terms of pressure. He's ninth in terms of sack percentage, so he's not really getting rushed. He doesn't get the ball in the end zone, being ranked 25th or tied 25th in terms of touchdown percentage, but he is protecting the football, and that's important. And that's probably what's got him in the middle of the league. Like to see more from him though, especially with those weapons. Now coming in with the above average or a B as a grade, we have Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield's playing top 5 in terms of his interception rate. His sack percentage is top 4, and his drop percentage is top 6 in the NFL. So his guys are catching the football for him, and he's not falling on his ass as much as other quarterbacks, and he's not making mistakes. So that's going to make these numbers that are all middle of the road make him a middle of the road quarterback. So being 15th in the NFL is exactly probably where he should be. Now, going on to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a guy who was probably ranking in the Fs earlier in the season, probably weeks 1 through 3. Since getting healthier, he has actually climbed his way to 14. So him being average all the way across the board, top 10 in terms of bad throw percentage, but usually Joe Burrow here on target, he's usually a top 5 quarterback every year, and you can also expect his interception rate to be low as well every single year. Moving on is Trevor Lawrence. And when we did this report in the preseason, we actually had Trevor Lawrence finishing him probably as a top 5 quarterback in the end of the season. He's actually missed that mark. He hasn't been too good in terms of his touchdown percentage or his drop percentage, so his guys aren't catching the football much for him. But he's also middle of the road in some of these other variables that's really affecting him. It's probably his, I would say, passer rating. I mean, passer rating when you land in 13th here and then he lands 13th in the actual, ranking, that's probably one of the big major indicators, I would call it. His interceptions rate is still down, so he's not turning it over much. So you could probably see more success from Trevor Lawrence going forward. Now coming in at above average, so continuing the above average, we have Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, and CJ Stroud. And I know you see a couple, I think you would probably call all three of these surprises, but just in different ways. Jalen Hurts, he should be in the top 10, and he's not. And this year, he's turning the ball over, as you can see, 23rd in terms of interception rate. That's very high for him, and that's bringing down a lot of these top 10 numbers he has. He is almost top 10 across the board, except for pressure percentage and sack percentage. So he is getting pressured, he is getting hit, and then it's forcing turnovers. And that's where he's taken a little bit of a step back in terms of last season. This season for Russell Wilson, everybody's saying that he's been garbage. No, he has not. His his wide receivers catch the ball for him. He's their top one in the NFL in terms of catching the football for him. He still does get hit though. He gets pressured 27th in the NFL, sacked 27th in the NFL. But look at the touchdown rate. He's ranked number 1 in terms of touchdown rate, top 5 in terms of passer rating. He's protecting the football in terms of top 10. He's doing all right. He's, dare I say it, almost a top 10 quarterback with Denver Broncos this year, Russell Wilson. And then he has a surprise. CJ Stroud, he's been great. His completion percentage kind of low, bad throw percentage 32nd in the NFL, on target percentage 26th, and he is pressured somewhat. So with that, he's not throwing the ball accurately, but he is getting it to his guys. And I don't know if you could say that just from these numbers, since he has the lowest interception rate, he has the highest adjusted net yards per attempt, and these numbers are saying that he's not that accurate. He's literally just putting the ball in places that his receivers can get it. That's what it looks like just from these numbers. But you literally don't even have to watch the football game, and that's what these numbers tell you, is that he's putting it in the spot only his receivers can get it. It's either going to be an incomplete pass or a catch. It's going to be a catch for a big play. There's no in between. Now coming in with the B pluses, we got Justin Herbert and we got Lamar Jackson. Pretty much expected for top 10. I would say top 10 caliber. You can see Justin Herbert. He's middle of the league or above in every statistical category here, thus putting him in the top 10 just on that alone. He protects the football. He has a high QBI. He's top 10 in passer rating. He's going to be there at the end of the day. Lamar has done much better as a pocket passer this season. Believe it or not, he's being pressured the least in terms of pressure percentage. He is still taking sacks though, and I have to say that's probably from running out of the pocket. His adjusted net yards per attempt is top 5 in the NFL. He's second in terms of interception rate, and he's first in terms of completion percentage. It's looking like small passes or a lot of open windows for him to throw passes. They like him in the pocket a lot more than last season or in his previous season, so he's doing well in terms of that. The only thing is, I question the balls. I question the balls in the playoffs. In his playoff performances, it has shied me away from either A, betting on him or just picking him in general in the playoffs. He needs to prove me wrong for me to, I guess, place those bets for the future. Now let's get to our very good quarterbacks. These are the guys in the A minus. Dak Prescott ranking in the A minus, and you bet your ass he's ranking in the A minus when his accuracy stats of bad throw percentages first in the NFL and his on target percentages first in the NFL. So when we say bad throw percentage ranking first, that means he has the least bad throws. His pressure percentage, top 5 in the NFL. So his offensive line showing up for him. He's throwing the ball on target. Thing is here, drop percentage, his wide receivers aren't doing the best of jobs at catching the football for him. His completion is always high. in terms of ranking every single year. His QBR and his passer rating always going to be there. He's seventh, and he's ranking with an A minus. Jared Goff now coming in at number 6, and Jared Goff, he's had good year after good year, especially since being his, I would say, his tail end of the Rams. Well, there was one season in the at the end where it didn't look too good, but it was more injury history. We're not going to touch on that. But since being with Detroit, he's really killed it. He's almost top 10 in every statistical category here, except for touchdown percentage, drop percentage, and then pressure percentage. But he's hovering in that top 10 range everywhere, and that's going to make him hover in the top 10. He's had a good season so far, and he's also top 2 in terms of being on target. Now, Patrick Mahomes, you can see his flaw in terms of his offense. You see it right here, drop percentage, and it's wide receivers catching the football for him. But he's also being pressured this season, pressured more than normal. It's still looking like Mahomes' numbers though. Seventh, he's ranking almost in the top 10 everywhere. His interception rate has been high. His passer rating is usually in the top 10. It's usually top 5, to be honest with you. So he really needs to start clicking with these wide receivers. But even then, he's still a top 5 quarterback in terms of these numbers. He's still going to get you 62% win percentage according to these numbers. Coming in for our A's or our excellent, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was playing unreal, I thought, and so does this model think, before the injury. He was top 5 in almost all these statistical categories. Top 5 in touchdown percentage, top 5 in completion percentage, passer rating, adjusted net yards per attempt, on target, third best in the NFL. His bad throw percentage was 6th in the NFL. The only places there's pressure percentage, and it ended up hurting him at the end of this during this season. Everywhere else, he's been phenomenal. Um, he was a top 4 quarterback in terms of this model. So, there's nothing really else I can say. Brock Purdy's at number 3. He's getting an A as well. He really started out with an A plus and is kind of fallen a little bit back. He does throw in terms of bad throw percentage 20, it's almost 25th in the NFL, tied for 24th. And it looks like just him being on target is very average. It's the drop percentage. His wide receivers are catching the ball. Adjusted net yards per attempt, first in the NFL. Guys are catching it in space and they're running. The passer rating stats themselves, one on ESPN, one passer rating itself, top 2 in the NFL in those. That's going to have a great passer rating and projected of almost 64% win percentage there. Tua now. Tua's at 2. Tua's at 2 with the A, and he has been almost top 5 in every statistical category. I don't even know how you could. If you don't know, now you know, because they've been speaking Miami based on this offense. They've been talking about them the last few years, how high powered it was going to be, and this guy's leading it. Whether you like him or not, he's leading. He's calling the shots in that offense. 21st in terms of his drop percentage, so his wide receivers can do a little bit better at pushing themselves during the middle of the pack uh, to get their hands on the ball a little often, and even that's dangerous. If they were to move that up, just imagine what they can do. And then also he used to protect the football a little bit better, being ranked 18th in terms of interception percentage. So here's your number 1 valedictorian of the class, and it's going to be Josh Allen. He's ranking at number 1, getting almost a 70% win percentage. What can you say? Number 1 in terms of QBR, number 2 in terms of sack percentage, so he's not getting hit much. He's top 10 in every statistical category except for the one that we rag on him every week about, and that's interception percentage. His turnover percentage, he's always turning the football over, and that's based on him just being a risk taker. But as you can see, top 10 across the board. His lowest rating coming at 9 in terms of pressure percentage. His highest ranking coming at 1. He's 2 in terms of completion percentage, 2 in terms of sack percentage, 5th in terms of touchdown percentage. He's just playing. He's playing great, except you got to factor in the fundamental analysis, which is coaching. And it looks like they've had enough of their coach over there in Buffalo. Now, like we did in our video, I believe last year, we just went over QB controversy matchups. This is more of like a pause, and you guys can take a look at it, and if these are your favorite teams. So just to show you which quarterbacks are playing better. So just based on the numbers, Taylor Heineke is actually performing better than Desmond Ridder. I think a lot of people know that just watching that week in and week out. Also for Carolina, it hasn't even been close. If you're talking about Carolina, Andy Dalton has been far and above a better quarterback in terms of just his small sample size compared to Bryce Young. And I know you need to let Bryce get his mistakes in and his growing pains in. Now going to Chicago, looks like Justin Fields just ekes out Tyson Bagent. He's really not playing much better than him when you look at the numbers, but is playing better than him nonetheless. Over here in Vegas, Vegas got three guys that actually met some of the qualification. And Jimmy Garoppolo's actually played the better, or if you wanted to get spicy, you could even say Aiden O'Connell. I think they're very much closer to than Brian Hoyer. I know Aiden O'Connell has been the guy I believe that just recently started, but Jimmy Garoppolo's numbers are slightly better in terms of his play this season. Moving on to the Giants, it has been Tyrod Taylor who has been outperforming Daniel Jones this season. And then moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenny Pickett has been outperforming Mitchell Trubisky in his small sample size as well. But I do think that the Giants should move forward with Tyrod Taylor. They were actually 1 yard away from beating the Buffalo Bills and actually have probably turning their season around if Tyrod Taylor could stay healthy. And then our final one, I think there's no surprise here that Will Levis has been playing pretty decent football, and pretty decent football has been much better than Ryan Tannehill, which he has been absolutely abysmal. So, like always, we want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like this content and you want to see more of it. Also, hit the like button. That way, you can let us, roam through that YouTube algorithm and get more eyeballs on our content. That would be greatly appreciated. You can also share if you would like, and please comment down below on whether you agree or disagree, or maybe you just want to shout out your opinion on these quarterbacks that we have provided to you today. So, like always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.